Hi everyone, this is Luna from Aspie Gamer Girl, and today we're gonna play and review a School of Sorcery. I will show you how the game plays before telling you my final thoughts on the game. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel for similar content. Okay, let's see how the game plays. A School of Sorcery is a game for two players in which each player casts their crystals to obtain victory points and special powers. The first player to score 13 victory points wins the game. Each player chooses a color and takes their cast cards, player board, a scoring marker, and the dice. Each player takes 3 reroll tokens. Place the remaining tokens on the general supply, among the crystals. In the middle of the table, place the location tiles in numerical order. Draw 2 random permanent cards to each player and place them face up. Each player scores the victory points on the received cards. Shuffle the remaining cards into the deck and place 1 card face up next to each location, with the exception of number 6, where the portal is placed. The first player takes the wizard and places it on their first face. Each round consists in 5 phases. The players track their phases with the wizard. Take crystals. Each player adds 5 crystals to their supply. Cast crystals. The following actions are done simultaneously by both players. Roll the dice. If you want to reroll one number, announce it and return a token to the general supply. Assign 1 cast card to each die by placing it down next to it. After both players finish assigning the cast cards, reveal them. Each player casts their crystals by placing them in the sorcery card corresponding to the location on the die on it. If the cast card has a die on it, before casting the crystals, the player must reassign the die on its opposite side. Players don't have to cast all the crystals in their personal supply. If you cast more crystals than you have, your opponent decides which cards you use. Use portal. If only one player has crystals at the portal, the player moves them to any location. If both players have crystals, they select a location and reveal their choice simultaneously. Active powers. Starting with the player that has the wizard, each player uses their permanent powers. They choose what actions to perform and in which order. Evaluate locations. In descending order, players check if they won a card. To win a card, the player must meet the cost and margin of the card. The cost is the minimum amount of crystals you need, and the margin shows at least how many more crystals you must have than your opponent. When winning a card, put your crystals back into the general supply. Your opponent takes up to the margin number back to their supply. Score its victory points. At the end of the round, the player with the most points takes the wizard. The unwon cards stay as long as they don't have 12 or more crystals on them. If that is the case, discard the card from the game. The portal never reaches to the first location. If that is the case, put it back on number 6. Slide the cards from the highest to the lowest number. Fill the empty locations with cards from the deck. Players choose what powers to use. Permanent powers come from red cards and they are used during phase 4. Immediate powers come from green cards. Its power must be played when winning the card. One-time use power comes from yellow cards. Their power can be played at any time during the game. The game ends when a player gains 13 victory points. That player wins. This is how you play a School of Sorcery. As you saw at the beginning, I'm going to show you again in case that you missed it. The cover design reminds me a lot of Harry Potter, and more than seeing when Hermione is putting the books on the library. So if you're a fan of Harry Potter, I think this cover will bring a bell to you. But putting that aside, the game doesn't have anything to do with the franchise. I think that the nice thing of the game is that it makes it really light and simple for 2 players, that the cards play differently depending on what color the card, if it's a permanent power or an immediate power or just one at a time power. So you kind of have to figure out how to do it properly and how to use your powers in your advantage. The first time I played, I kept forgetting about my permanent powers and then I couldn't use them because they wouldn't apply. So yeah, always keep in mind your powers and how to use them, so you can take advantage of certain things. I really like how light the game is. Also, I believe this game is perfect if you're gonna play it with a person that is not really into board games. So it's like just a taste of board game and strategy, but like in a way that is really simple and like easy to follow. So yeah, I definitely think that this is perfect to play with either people that like board games or people that are just light games or are not into the hobby. If you like a little bit of magic, this game is for you.